Hello everyone, my name is Will. This is Sam, Steph, and Davis, and together we represent the large team of engineers, business people, professors, and others who work on YNot Bike. I love to bike. I've biked my whole life, I grew up biking, and I thought I would continue to bike when I came to Cornell. I actually had a bike on campus for about a month, but it didn't really work for me. When I took it to class and then had to wheel it between classes throughout the day, lock it up and worry about it, it was pretty inconvenient. I then heard about bike sharing, and it seemed like the perfect solution to my problem, a short-term bike rental service. But after a week of bike sharing, I learned that it also didn't solve my problem. I wanted to figure out if other people also experienced problems with bike sharing. So I started asking around, and it turns out a lot of people just didn't use it because it wasn't convenient enough, or those that did also experienced problems with it. This is the inspiration for YNot Bike.
The more people we spoke to, the more we realized that this wasn't a problem with bike sharing in Ithaca, this was a problem with the bike sharing industry. We spoke with 200 bike sharing users, and they were all experiencing the same problems at different stages of the process. They either had difficulty finding a bike, or when they were finished, it was inconvenient to return the bike. And this all comes down to a matter of user convenience. On the business side, in order to accommodate these users, it was up to the businesses to make it as convenient as possible. They had to redistribute bikes that were in the wrong place, and this increased their operational costs. Put simply, the problem is, bikes aren't where users want them when they want them there.
So where does this problem exist? It exists everywhere that bike sharing is currently found, in hotels and resorts, on college campuses, and in cities and towns. We decided to focus our initial efforts on hotels and resorts. From speaking to numerous hotel employees, we found that they had the most to gain from an improved bike sharing service as they put a premium on guest convenience and reduced operational costs. While we are beginning our search with hotels and resorts, we plan to address the problems with bike sharing in these two areas as well.
So it was very clear that there was a problem, but we had to get more information. We wanted to get in touch with as many resorts as possible, and we used a two-tiered approach to do this. First, we used a top-down approach. We spoke with upper-level executives who could represent dozens of resorts at once. Next, we used a bottom-up approach. We spoke with front desk managers who gave us insight into the problems they experienced day to day. And really, they were all experiencing the same problems, and they had ineffective solutions for all of them. They were relying on employees to deliver bikes to guests when it was inconvenient for guests to get them themselves. They had employees waste a lot of time collecting discarded bikes, which could be anywhere, and they wasted time searching for them so they could bring them back to the racks. And finally, they relied on employees to maintain and repair their bikes. Usually, the employees lacked the skills necessary to do this, and the resorts admitted that this kept bikes out of commission for an extended period of time.
So how many hotels actually face this problem? Of the 4,000 resorts in the US, approximately 2,600 of them are suitable for bike sharing. Upwards of 600 resorts already have bike sharing services in place, and the other 2,000 or so have similar attributes to those that do. These attributes include being in warm weather environments, having large geographic areas, and in being one of 4 types of resorts: island, beach, nature, and golf. Not only is this the number of resorts that are suitable for bike sharing, this is the number of resorts that will benefit immensely from our solution.
So let's talk about YNot Bike. Here's the bike now, it's come to join us. So how the heck did we pull this off? Let's talk about our bike and what makes it unique. First, we have 2 modes. We have a rider mode, which is obviously when the rider's on the bike, and then we have an autonomous mode. The biggest thing about the rider mode that advances it past current bike sharing today is that it has an electric throttle. This allows you to traverse any terrain you want, even Ithaca Hills. You just use the throttle and sit back and cruise. Second, we have the autonomous mode. That's the mode that allows it to get from the docking station to you, or when you're done, that allows it to get back to the docking station by itself. The biggest feature for the autonomous mode is the training wheels here in the back. They can easily be put up, and they're out of the way for the user to pedal if they want to, put back down, and they're clearly locked into place. Next, we have the autonomous steering motor, so that allows it to steer around obstacles and people, and obviously it needs to steer to get where it needs to go. Finally, we have a GPS system located in our electronics box here that allows the bike to get right to you. We also are developing a vision system, and currently, if you hold an object in front of our vision system, it recognizes the object, tells you the size and distance, and in the next few months, we'll be refining the vision system such that it's 100% safe before it gets put onto hotel resorts.
So what are we offering? We are offering fleets of 20 autonomous bikes on average. This includes a charging bike rack, we handle installation and shipping, and we even provide a maintenance plan. Overall, what we're really offering is unparalleled guest experience. The current cost for us to produce and deliver a fleet of bikes is about $36,000. As we scale our business, we expect our production costs to decrease as our volume increases. Finally, the price that we're selling these fleets is $66,000, which we'll speak about later.
YNot Bike is the evolution of bike sharing, but this is why it's going to take the industry by storm. As Stephanie said, we offer unparalleled convenience at a very competitive price. Resorts don't have to charge their guests for them to use the bike, but if they choose to, we recommend $3 per ride. This is very competitive with other forms of transportation in the same space. But look what we give the user. Bikes come to the rider's exact location. What could be easier than that? And when they're finished, the bikes return themselves. Our bikes feature 8 hours of electric assist to help you up hills, or if you don't want to pedal at all, you can have 4 hours of purely electric usage. Finally, we offer the flexibility of one-way trips. And to a resort guest, this is perhaps the best offering. Now, you don't have to plan your day around the forms of transportation available to you. You can plan your day around doing whatever you want.
Now let's talk about the value add to resorts who we're actually selling the product to. As Sam mentioned, improved guest experience is huge. Happy guests means successful resorts. Second, all the problems we mentioned before with maintaining current bike sharing systems that fall on the employees of the resorts, and the resorts have to pay these employees to do all of that upkeep, that gets replaced by our autonomous technology, so it's going to be more efficient and less costly. And finally, we present a potential revenue opportunity for resorts that represents the value of our product. On the right here, you see the fleet price breakdown. These are all conservative estimates based on the data we've found with current bike sharing systems that exist at hotel resorts today. So, with our $3 a ride price point and a conservative 2 rides per day, if you take a 2-year lifetime, which is based off of the durability of our design, our maintenance plan, as well as data that we found from hotel resorts, you get, with our 20 bike fleet, an $87,000 value for a resort. Now, we recognize that what we're providing is convenience to resorts, right? So most of the resorts may not charge their guests to actually use the bikes, but this breakdown makes it clear that our product has an incredible value add.
YNot Bike is a tech company, and as a tech company, it has a unique growth pattern. If you look at 2019, we expect to have 2 fleets at resorts. This is because during this time, we'll be observing our bikes, we'll be gauging customer response, and most importantly, we'll be innovating the entire time. In 2021, this is a milestone. This is our inflection point. By then, we'll have the equipment necessary to begin mass production, and most importantly, our technology will be tailored so that our bikes can be successful in diverse environments and used across a range of different applications. In 2023, we estimate that we can have over $5 million in EBITDA, and we also know that because our costs are based off of the cost to produce a single bike, we'll achieve economies of scale and continue growing.
Finally, who are we? We all came together because we were passionate about biking and the problem that we are solving. We have a range of unique skill sets, including everything from engineering to finance to hospitality. We're supported by a team of accomplished engineers, and we're guided by mentors with expertise in entrepreneurship and bike sharing.
So we leave you with 2 final thoughts. First, we were on the phone with a hotel executive 2 weeks ago, and they asked us the question, how soon can you put these fleets on our property? They named 8 names of hotel resorts they wanted to put YNot Bike fleets on right now. That's pretty cool. That's pretty validating for us. Second, we recognize this technology is new. It's groundbreaking, and it will be difficult. There will be technical challenges. But we want you to ask the same question we've been asking the last few months. Why not us? Why not here, now? Why not today? Why not bike?
So how did you answer the question when you can have the bikes on the property?
What's that?
How did you respond to the question when you can have the bikes on the 8 different properties?
So what we said is we're going to call them in 6 months and tell them exactly how far we've gotten with the number of bikes we've been able to produce. This is currently our only prototype, and to be quite frank, we need money to put more prototypes, more bikes together.
A few questions. How do you arrive at 20 bikes per fleet?
So that was an average. When we talked to hotel resorts, we got the sense of how many bikes they typically had in their fleets now. And granted, our bikes can typically service more people than normal bikes can because someone can take a one-way trip and then the bike can return back to the fleet, right? So then, like, someone else can be using that bike while the first person's at the beach all day, right? So the bike doesn't have to be out the whole time. But this was the average that we found based on the numbers that currently exist at hotel resorts.
Did you consider another revenue opportunity besides the sale of the bike?
Yes, we did. Do you want to speak to the
I'll
leasing
speak to
model
this.
and maintenance?
So we spoke with a lot of resorts. Essentially, they communicated that many would be interested in the leasing model as well, partially because of accounting practices where they don't want to have this on their balance sheet, but also due to the fact that with seasonality, they experience fluctuation in the number of people they have. So in a business plan, we also broke down a leasing model. This would be based on $200 per bike per month, and it would allow them to be a little bit more flexible. So even when they're not paying to have a bike on their property, the rack will still be there, and they'll still be able to return bikes when it's seasonally appropriate for them again.
Great idea. I love that there's a prototype here. One of us might want to ride it out, or have it meet us later. So I have a couple questions. The first is around insurance.
Yes.
And can you talk to us a little bit about what kind of insurance you have accounted for? Have you thought about product liability insurance, insuring other people's property?
Definitely.
Yeah, do you want me to talk about this again?
Yeah.
Okay, so we met with a couple insurance representatives, particularly one who specialized in unique situations like this. They broke it down into the different categories that we would fall under. So actually, the most significant form of insurance for us would be insuring our own employees. That would be covering workers' comp, disability, paid leave, things like that. And because this would technically be a manufacturing company, even though we only do assembly domestically, that would come with its own issues. But as far as insuring the actual bikes go, it's analogous to if we were creating golf carts and selling golf carts. So if while our bike is driving autonomously, it crashes into something, that would be on our insurance, which would fall under general liability coverage. That being said, if it's the user's error that causes the crash, it'd be covered the same way you would with a golf cart. And in the instance of bike theft, this is something that would be occurred to the hotel itself, which is just consistent with standard practices right now.
Because they've purchased the product, so then they have to cover if they lose the bike.
Yeah.
Okay, and then from a technology perspective, so you have declared yourself a technology company.
Yeah.
So you're going to be collecting data, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
On these bikes, so where they go, how fast they go,
Right.
how often they're being used, everything about it. Are you also doing RFID locators on the bikes?
So currently what our data processing is because we have GPS location at all times, it's really nice because we can locate our bikes at any point. Now, we haven't actually planned to have RFID on it right now, particularly within the resort model. We're not sure what's going to be, if that's really necessary, given that guests are already synced in with the data systems that the resort has. So for example, they're going to be paying through the resort. They're not paying like us directly, and therefore we don't have to handle their credit cards, for example. But other bike sharing services do use RFID, so it is something that has been flushed out and that could make it really easy for us. We just haven't done it yet.
Right, I think just because of the investment and the cost of the product, RFID makes it really easy to find it if for some reason the GPS goes down, or for some reason, or if the hotel itself needs to find the bike.
Yeah, so the way that we're currently building that in is our GPS just operates on a separate battery. So if the motor battery dies, then they can still locate it that way. But I think your solution is one step more sophisticated than what we currently have implemented.
I have two questions. One, what's keeping 3 high school guys from grabbing one of these bikes and stripping off all the GPS and just taking off with it?
Sure. So first, the second that this bike detects a disturbance on its path, like something else has happened, it has a sensor in there to do that. It locks the back wheel. So now it's just a 30-pound brick, right? That's all it is. Now, if someone wants to put it in the back of their pickup truck, they really want to nail us, right? So what we do is, one, we have the GPS tracking, and the second that there's a disturbance like that, the hotel or whoever's managing the system, depending on who we sold it to, gets a notification immediately. So they know immediately that something is up, so they can pursue it quickly. And then the second thing is, it's pretty easy to make the electronics and the things that you're mentioning super durable. So like, they're not gonna be able to break into the electronics box, for example. They can take the whole thing with them on a truck, but then we know where they are. Definitely a difficult issue, and they would have to follow up with some sort of authority. The hotel people don't wanna, go chase someone off their grounds, but the instant notification is the best thing.
Smart, you thought of it. And to camp on Warren's question about the razors versus razor blades. My first read at the deck was, we're selling razors as something that should be razor blades. So part of the razor blade would be the maintenance contract. So what are the economics of that for you?
Yeah, so the maintenance contract and how do we deal with the...
What do you charge? How much it costs to maintain? Have you projected that at all?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, so I can explain this a little bit. So we weren't initially sure how we should handle maintenance, so we wanted to do some research, and we looked into how other bike sharing companies did this. We based the model we presented in our business plan partially off of Lime Bike, because what they do is they have mechanic ambassadors or maintenance ambassadors. So our bike maintenance cost in our income statement, when you break that down, what that is paying a YNot Bike employee to travel to the resort, which the fleet is being sold to, spend an entire 8-hour workday training whoever our ambassador is there, staying for a night and flying back. So this will be done on a one-time basis with each sale of a fleet. Then as problems occur, we have a direct line of contact to them, and any parts that they need from us will be charged at cost to the hotel.
So it's not really a profit part of the business then?
That's right. We aren't considering it a revenue stream with our current model, because we're offering it basically as we've sold you this product and we want to upkeep it like a car mechanic, except we're not going to charge you off the top like for extra, so we profit off of it. It's definitely a potential in the future, depending on how much we're spending on maintenance. But right now we're just offering it as a service to the hotel resort.
Great. I think Greg had one more question. Where's the switch for the heated seat and handlebars?
Oh, it's right behind the horn here, I think.
I wanted to ask, have you started to pursue a patent on this?
Yes, so we spoke with both a patent attorney and multiple entrepreneurship mentors who have followed through with patents before, and even Micah, who won this competition years ago and has received multiple patents for MadeBot. And basically what we learned is our patent needs to be on the specific piece of mechanical technology or the process that we've developed that solves a problem, which is unsolvable otherwise in this realm. So the most patentable and most obvious technology we have is this back training wheel mechanism, because it's a mechanism. And then second of all, we have a software process for our navigation, and that's the second most patentable thing. Currently, we don't have the money to get a patent, so that's one thing, the one reason we don't have a patent right now. But it's in the works, and from what we've learned from like the patent attorney especially, we believe this technology is super patentable. What we have is very patentable.
Thank you.
So I think I read in the plan that the bike costs around $3,200 to the hotel.
Right.
And I was wondering, A, as someone who's been trying to get money out of hotels and resorts for a few years, have you had much pushback on that price? And also, have you thought about splitting the cost between the hotel and the guest, given that they could be contributing more than $3 per ride at a luxury hotel?
Sure. Do you want to address that one?
Yeah, sure. I'll respond to this.
Okay.
So there was no initial kickback when we told them our initial prices, our price estimates, but that was where we learned about the idea of a leasing model, which would just allow the hotels to spend less money at any given time. In terms of sharing the cost between the resort and the actual user themselves, we wanted to make sure that that was flexible and up to the resort themselves. That's why we didn't mandate a specific price. It's possible that the hotel would like the guest to cover some of the price, but would like to subsidize the rest.
Right.
And that's up to them. We're flexible.
Got it.
And that's also why we included the one price breakdown, just so we can go to hotel resorts and say, if you do charge this amount, which is reasonable given the industry, you will be able to cover your costs. So that's why we have that.
Great. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.